Welcome back to Danielle versus Avoid, the show where we gently interrogate the human brain as if it is a witness who absolutely knows more than it's letting on. Today, we're talking about secondhand embarrassment, also known as the emotional boomerang that was never meant for you, but somehow still clocks you in the face. It's that moment when someone else does something awkward or cringe or wildly uncalibrated to the moment, and your entire nervous system reacts like you're the one who just said, you too, to the waiter who told you to enjoy your meal. Secondhand embarrassment is one of those universally human experiences that make us all bond instantly. You can say, "Oh, God, I literally had secondhand embarrassment so bad I had to look away." And every single person nods because we've all spiritually been slapped by someone else's awkward moment. It's such a common glitch in the human software that the void itself probably feels it sometimes. So, what actually is secondhand embarrassment? Like, why does your brain go into full panic mode over something you didn't even do? And why does watching someone else trip over their words make you feel like your own internal organs tripped with them? So we're going to start simple. Secondhand embarrassment is an emotional reaction your brain has when you watch someone else violate a social rule, even a small, harmless one. Someone sings off key, someone misreads the room, someone tries to flirt with the confidence of a baby deer learning to walk, and your brain leaps into action like a social security alarm. You feel a rush of tension, a flush of heat, maybe even a cringe so strong it becomes physical. And because the brain doesn't like to watch other people risk humiliation, it decides that you're going to share that emotional load whether you want to or not. And the thing is that the brain reacts instantly. You don't get a grace period. You don't get time to think about, like, how should I feel about this? Your nervous system just slams down on the big red button that says emotional react now. And the hilarious part is your brain knows you're not the one messing up. It knows that you are just the spectator, the innocent bystander, the unlucky soul who walked into this awkward moment like stepping into a puddle you didn't see. But that doesn't matter. Your mirror neurons, the tiny little empathy circuits in your brain, fire anyway. And mirror neurons are the ones that light up when you see somebody else stub their toe or get hit in the shin and you flinch because you feel it. It's emotional Wi Fi. And someone else embarrassing themselves makes these neurons go, yep, we're doing this together. And so now let's talk about why the brain has mirror neurons in the first place. Because they're supposed to help us understand and predict other people's behavior. They help us bond, communicate, learn, connect. Empathy itself is a social survival skill. Humans survive by being in groups. And occasionally your neuron, but occasionally your mirror neurons get a little too enthusiastic and start absorbing emotional chaos that does not belong to you. Your brain basically over empathizes. And it tries to keep you socially safe by running a simulation of how you would feel in this embarrassing moment. And that leads us to the evolutionary part. Secondhand embarrassment is tied to an ancient survival logic. When you lived in a tribe, if someone embarrassed themselves or broke a social rule, it could reflect on the whole group. The whole tribe need to stay cohesive. So your brain developed this instinct to be hyper aware of social blunders, even ones that are not yours. Back then, it was survival. If you were kicked out of that group, you were left to the wolves and you would die. So you did what you could to stay in your group. And so Those mirror neurons, very important, very helpful to human survival, why we got this far in life. It's why we now physically have to leave a room when a contestant on a reality show starts singing off key. But let's zoom out for a moment because secondhand embarrassment doesn't just hit randomly. There are flavors, there are categories, there's a full emotional menu. There's the tender variety that, oh, sweetie, no. And that's when someone is trying so hard, but everything is going sideways. They're speaking in public and you can tell they're nervous and their voice starts cracking, or they laugh too loudly at a joke that nobody heard. They wave enthusiastically to someone that they thought was waving at them, but it was to the person behind them. It's painful, but it's like a soft pain. It brings out your nurturing side. You want to protect them, to wrap them in a blanket, cover their eyes, and whisper, shh, it's okay. Then there's the panic variety. This one hits like someone threw a bucket of ice water at your dignity. It's when someone says something unbelievably inappropriate without even realizing it. They make a joke that melts into the floor. They confidently give a fact that is deeply incorrect. They barge into a conversation like a golden retriever knocking over a lamp, and your entire body system reacts with a full system alarm. And then there's the catastrophic variety, the strongest of them all, the kind where the person doesn't know they're being embarrassing. They're oblivious, clueless, marching joyfully into social danger like a hero in an action movie walking away from an explosion. And your mirror neurons start slamming every emotional panic button they can reach, and you can't stop watching, and you can't keep watching. You're trapped in what I like to call the cringe event horizon. This one hits especially hard because there's no self awareness to soften it. You can't tell yourself, well, at least they know it was awkward. Because no, they're just out there living their best life, shining like a misguided star, fully convinced that everything is going just fine. And now, why don't we talk about why you might feel secondhand embarrassment more intensely than someone else? If you're a highly empathetic person, and to be here at the void, you gotta be. Sorry, that's the rules. Your mirror neurons are basically high speed fiber internet instead of dial up. They're picking up emotional signals instantly, clearly, and with twice the intensity. You can sense tension in a room before anyone says a word. You can feel when someone is uncomfortable. You can tell when someone's trying too hard or losing confidence or desperately hoping no one notices their mistake. If your brain tends to imagine social outcomes like running simulations of if I say this thing, what will happen? Then someone else's awkward moment hits you like a preview of a future disaster. It pokes at the same part of your brain that tries to avoid social rejection at all costs. It's anxiety, but with a PhD in prediction. If you're creative, your imagination fills in every emotional detail. You don't just watch someone stumble, you imagine their thoughts, their panic, the moment they will lie awake at 2 a.m. replaying this moment. And you're experiencing the full VR experience. But here's the version people don't talk about. Secondhand embarrassment is often strongest in people who have messed up publicly before, even once, and your brain remembers. Oh, it remembers. Maybe you tripped in front of the class. Maybe you once said a joke that flopped. Maybe you mispronounced a word so badly your soul quit your body and you are remembering it 30 years later. Your brain logs these experiences and files them in the never again section. And when someone else reenacts even a tiny piece of your past, your nervous system time travels. The reaction feels immediate because it's familiar. And now let's take a look at how secondhand embarrassment works in the body. The symptoms are so dramatic that if aliens watched humans, they'd assume we were physically injured. You get the sudden stomach drop, the tension in your shoulders, the instinct to cover your face, the urge to look away, the heat rising up in your neck and chest, and sometimes even a weird emotional electricity throughout your scalp. That's your nervous system saying we need to protect ourselves from danger. The danger, somebody else mispronounced Worcestershire. Now, let's have a little laugh at ourselves because humans are so emotionally fragile. It's almost adorable. We feel secondhand embarrassment for fictional characters. Fictional. They aren't real. They aren't suffering, but our brains don't care. If someone on a show stands up and gives a speech and they start stumbling, instant cringe paralysis. You hide behind your hands like a teenager watching an adult movie with their parents right there. It doesn't matter if it's a character who doesn't exist in a story that isn't real in a moment that never happened. Your mirror neurons still go, activate warfare mode. And here's a fun twist. Secondhand embarrassment is actually a sign of emotional intelligence. People who feel it more strongly tend to be socially aware, empathetic, attuned to group dynamics, and sensitive to emotional shifts. Basically, the emotional Wi Fi router of every room you enter. And routers pick up interference whether they want to or not. Secondhand embarrassment also tells you something about your boundaries. The stronger your reaction, the more deeply you care about social smoothness, not perfection, smoothness. You want interactions to feel easy. You want people to feel safe. You want vibes to remain crisp and clear and free of chaos. Someone who disrupts that, even unintentionally, triggers your instinct to restore balance. So, how do you deal with secondhand embarrassment? You don't eliminate it entirely. That would require uninstalling your empathy software. And we need that. That's very important to survival. But you can soften it. You start by mentally reminding yourself this is their scene, not mine. And that pulls your brain out of the situation. And instead of identifying with the person, you separate yourself from the emotional splash zone. And then you remind yourself humans embarrass themselves constantly. It's not lethal. It's not catastrophic. It's not irreversible. It's a universal experience and it connects us more than it isolates us. And then, if the moment feels too intense, shift into observer mode. Narrate the moment like you're watching a documentary. Here we see a human attempting to navigate the perilous waters of public speaking. Turning it into a story gives you more emotional distance. And then one more thing is try to replace the instinctive cringe with compassion. Not pity, compassion. It's the deep breath that says they're doing their best, even if their best is currently falling apart like a Jenga tower. To wrap this up, secondhand embarrassment is proof that your empathy circuitry is alive and well. It shows you care about connections, about comfort, about the people around you, even strangers, even fictional characters who live in badly written scripts. The void contains many oddities. But this is beautifully human. It's a reminder that even when we're watching, we're still feeling. And if you learned anything from this, please take a second to like or comment or subscribe. Maybe give me some ideas on something that you would like me to look into more. And I'll see you soon, Void Walkers. Thank you for diving into this shared cringe pool with me. I'll see you in the next video, hopefully with a little less cringe.